Let's see. Bob's asking, what sequence of studying BlackBird would you recommend? All right, well, all right, so let's get BlackBird on the chart here. So we're going to go into the strategies. And let's add that down here. And I'm just going to turn it on and get BlackBird loaded up on the chart. So, okay, let's see where to start. Probably, the main thing that BlackBird does for you is, BlackBird is like an ATM on steroids, right? ATM on another whole new level here. So probably the most important thing that you want to learn is how to set up your orders. Using the OCO order sets here. Learning, just kind of learning how to use the order sets here. So let's see, if we're using a limit order to enter the market, you want to learn how to all the various ways that you can set an initial price or an initial placement, right? So initial placement is basically calculates or determines the price at which your limit order will be set. Right, so you can either use the price bars. Right, you can use the price bars to kind of calculate where you want your limit order to go, or you can use an indicator. So you can set your limit order, at a indicator value, or you can use swing points, which really the swing points and the linear regression, those are two indicators, right? Those are indicators within NinjaTrader there, so really, what you have to set price is what you have to set your limit order at is you can either use, price bars or you can use an indicator, right? So the bottom three here, they're all really indicators, but the swing point prices, it's just kind of a easier, quicker way to use the swings, highs, lows indicator to get access to swing points, and then the linear regression channel. Again, just a kind of an easier way of selecting which channel lines you want to use from a linear regression channel. If you're using a linear regression channel, right, you can just easier way of selecting which channel lines there. So, all right. So you have an initial placement, and then with an entry order, you may have some rules in place, which you don't want to leave an entry order out there forever. So you may want to cancel your entry order after so many bars or after so many seconds, or or maybe price just moves away from the order too far. It doesn't pull back to pick up your limit order, so you can set that as kind of a cancellation condition there. All right, so again, ticks in direction would be, so for example, let's say let's say as price is coming down, I want to go long when price is down here, and I set a limit order just below where the market actually went. So I set a limit order down here, and it never got picked up, and then price just shot up. So if price goes in the direction of the trade, if it goes in the direction of the trade too far, you might say, well, price kind of left without me, so I'd like to cancel my entry order. And so that's what this ticks in direction. So if price moves 10 ticks, you know, in the direction of the trade away from my order, then the order will be canceled. So, you know, of course, you can set whatever you need here. So you could set it, you know, if price moves 20 ticks in the direction of the trade, maybe that's too far, and you just want and you missed the trade, so you can cancel the order there. So, all right, ticks against direction. Really, that does not apply to. Yeah, that doesn't really apply in this case, but it's just a part of the package for this whole menu type here. So, all right, but anyways, getting back to the main question, you know, learning how to set up, you know, your orders there, and probably the biggest thing to learn is the trailing actions. You know, so if you want to set up some custom trailing stop losses, you know, just kind of learning the various capabilities, the various options that you have within the trailing rules here. So, right, and these are all covered in detail in the first couple of the BlackBird workshops, right? So that would be from last year. So when we launched BlackBird, the trailing actions section was covered in detail there. So you'd want to find those old BlackBird videos there. And let's see, speaking of which, let's go find those. Let's go find those old videos. Let's see here. So, yeah, let's go to documentation. There. And actually, let's see, workshop videos. There we go. So under general, right, we have the workshop videos. And if we scroll down, we can see here's the recorded workshops. And so we can just go into the BlackBird section. And we can scroll all the way down. Scroll. And let's see. So here we go. First one's an overview of the chart panels or the docking panels. Let's see. Trade signals. Here we go. Here's the management buttons. And here is the OCO order sets. There we go. The OCO order sets. Right, so this is this big area here is the order sets. So there you go. That's the OCO order sets right there, that area. So, and if you'd like to see a little graphic on, you know, on the how the all right, we have a little graphical image on how this is set up here. And let me open this up. There we go. So in our order settings window here, right, is broken down into 3 sections. And let me go back to here. So let's see, order settings. So in our menu here, right, the order settings. And we can see here, here's a screenshot of that order settings window, and it's broken down into 3 main areas, right? So we have the management buttons up on top. In the middle there are the trade signals, and then down below are the OCO order sets that you're creating. And then of course, and then there's the you know, commit buttons here. So the you know, the save, OK, and cancel buttons, commit buttons down below. So, you know, the OCO order sets is really the main, yeah, you know, the main what functionality that BlackBird's providing for you. Probably secondary would be the management buttons. So you can have, so you can apply, various money management and scheduling rules to your BlackBird. That basically dictates when your order sets can be traded on. So, and then probably third would be the trade signals. So most everybody, I would say, is probably already, any bloodhound owner is already familiar with the trade signals, in working with bloodhound. So that'll be the easy part for most people. So, and let's see. If you're dealing with multiple order sets, just keep in mind each order set does have a set of controls within it. Right, there's some placement safeguards. There's the trade fit parameters that work with money management rules. Just a little side note: the trade fit algorithm here is being reworked right now. I think Jeremy has it reworked here to function a little more typical to how people think of how the average trader thinks when it comes to trade fit. Well, actually, we're rewording this too. Instead of it's going to be renamed, I think, contract sizing or something like that. So the trade fit basically is controlling, it's there to control the number of contracts automatically, so you can allow BlackBird to automatically adjust the number of contracts. So so anyways, just wanted to remind you guys that there are some finer controls over each of the order sets. So each order set has its own set of controls. So once you've kind of learned the OCO order sets, right? So keep in mind each of these boxes in here is an OCO set, right? One cancels other. So and you can see they're labeled A, B, and C, right? So A, B, and C, they're all separate OCO order sets. That's why they're called OCO order sets. And so once you kind of learned, how to, manage your orders there, and probably the second biggest thing, most people are interested in is the money management rules. Setting up limitations here to basically turn BlackBird off. Once certain limits have been met. The most common one is, once you've made your profit for the day, or once a maximum loss for the day has been met. Usually you just want to turn that strategy off. It's done. Take care of it. Just for some simple, just as a simple example, but of course there's a lot more in here to money management. And the next one would be scheduling. So, right, so if you're using something like BlackBird as your entry signals, right, you now have a scheduler here for BlackBird that applies to when BlackBird's allowed to trade and not trade. So once we get this turned on, then we can go select a session template. And so I'll just go down here and select the typical one here, and there we go. So we have the U.S. equities regular trading hours, from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so you might want to use this as a scheduling restriction here, so BlackBird would only place new orders during this time. Looks like there might be a new question here. Let's see. Well, Bob, I don't know what a grid strategy would be. Particularly a hedged grid strategy. I haven't heard of that in those terms. That sounds like it'd be something like placing limit orders at a specific separation between like entry limit orders or something like that. Okay. Yeah, so all right, let's go to the chart here, guys. So let's kind of define what is a hedged grid strategy. And yeah, I can tell you excuse me, that I've done testing on stuff like that, and it can make you a ton of money until that one day where it fails. And then it wipes out your whole income for the whole year on that one day that it fails. But as long as you can avoid that one day a year, it's a great strategy. And as long as you have a big enough account as well to support it. So, okay, a hedge. So let's say, a hedged grid strategy would be something like, so these lines are just kind of representing where my entry order would be. And I'm just eyeballing these just so you guys get a visual representation here. Right, so what it would be is, you start placing, so let's say, we decide, we're going to go long for the day. So you start placing entry orders at equally spaced distances apart. And you just let those orders get picked up as price has a little pullback. And then we can see, we can turn this into a big winner, once price kind of takes off and goes in our direction. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 separate entry orders picked up. This fifth one didn't quite get picked up, but we got 4 picked up. And then when price finally goes in our direction, or does it go in the direction of the trade, you can see you can turn all these 4 orders into a big winner, right? Especially the last order here that gets picked up becomes a big winner, and even your first entry order can has the possibility of becoming a winner. So you got 4 winning trades, boom, in that one trade there, or it's 4 winning orders in that one big scaled in trade. So a hedged grid strategy is basically just scaling in at equally spaced distances between your entry orders there. So, all right. So can BlackBird do that? Let's see. Yes, it can. And let's get BlackBird back open here. Let's see. The one thing, so BlackBird doesn't have some kind of, counter or, mathematical calculation built in, right? So a hedged grid, or basically an equally spaced scaling in, it requires a little bit of a mathematical formula there. Obviously, you need to, determine what separation do you want to use for the day, and then you need to determine, at what price point do you start? Do you place your first, limit order at, to determine where the second, third, and fourth, and fifth limit orders are set at. Okay, so there's definitely a mathematical formula there that's required, and of course, Bloodhound does not have those type of formulas built into it. That's what indicators are for. If you have a custom formula, that's what indicators are needed for. So let me play around with things here. So what we can do, let's say the first order set, we'll make that a market order. So it just goes in. And then the second one we can set as a limit order. And let's see, under initial placement here. And yeah, okay. So yeah, so the version of BlackBird that's released now, yeah, it doesn't have. Okay, let me restate this another way. So what will be coming is, one of the functionalities that we're adding is the ability to read another order set's order prices. So in other words, this limit order, will have the ability to see the price of that market entry order. And so from that, you could then set an offset from that market entry order. So that would be coming. That would just make the whole process of setting that up a lot easier. But for now, you would need to pick some kind of a reference point. So let me, just use. I'll use the closing price as well. Actually, let's just do this. It's use the last price, right? So the market order is going to go in at the last price. So using this last price, is going to approximate, get you probably within a tick or two of where order set A's market order would go in at, right? Obviously, it depends on how volatile the market is. So we can use the last price, and then we just need to apply an offset. So let's just do a 10 tick offset like that. And then the next thing you're going to need there, Bob, is you'll have to determine, which cancellation method is best for you. Unless you're just going to manually cancel things, but let's try something like let's just see, if the market goes 20 ticks in our direction, then we'll just kind of cancel things. So we'll just kind of set that as some kind of initial testing parameter. We'll see how well that works for us. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy B. All right, so now we have C set up. And so with C, we're going to space that out. So I'm just going to space these 10 ticks out just because it's easy for me just to click 10 times to get a 10 tick separation. All right, and then I'll copy C, make a copy of C. And there's D. Now we have order set D. And again, I'll just go down here and set that like that. Let's make a few more. So the question was asked, how many order sets can be created? As many as your computer can handle. We have not set, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty certain we have not set any limitation on the number of order sets, OCO order sets. It's been a long time since we discussed this, since Jeremy and I discussed this, but yeah, if there is a limit, it's really high. It's probably going to be something like 20 or 30, something ridiculously high that we didn't think anybody would get to. So let's see. All right, so I've got 6 order sets here. I'll just kind of stop with 6. right? Okay, so there we go, all evenly spaced like so. And let's take a look. So, all right, let's, and, oh, I'm still connected to live data here. Well, okay, let me just throw the order out there. So, you know, let's say we want to go short. You know, something tells us we should be going short here. So let's go short, and bingo, there you go. And you can see order set B, C, D, E, and F are all evenly spaced 10 ticks apart. And we're all sitting out there waiting to get picked up, you know, in a grid kind of fashion there. Okay, so there we go. So we know placing the order is set up. So the you know, the next thing I would want to test, just to see how it works, is the cancel after 20 ticks in the direction. Let's kind of test that out. So, but in order to test that out, I will have to disconnect my live data because I can't force the market down. So let me let's see. So I'm going to use the flatten everything button to make sure all my sim orders are closed out. All right. So, okay. So now I'm all flat, and I'm going to connect to the simulated data feed. All right. And that will allow me to control the market so I can do various testing. Okay, let's get BlackBird back on here. Turn it back on. There we go, just enable it. All right, and if we go back to our order settings, right, we can see BlackBird has a built-in serializing, so it remembered our settings from last time. So we can see our entry order settings are still in there, still intact. So let's cancel that, and let's go short. All right, and now let's just say, you know, so let's see what happens if, right, so we get the market order gets filled, and then I'm going to pull the market down. And so once the market gets down 20 ticks, then all of these unfilled limit orders will get canceled. All right, we're just going to have to wait for the market to come down 20 ticks, like so. Let's see, I'm on the NQ. Not sure where 20 ticks. That's 5 points. So somewhere down around here where the arrow is 20 ticks. Yeah. And oh shoot, I missed it. But hopefully you guys were watching the screen there. You can see that yep, the all those orders got canceled once price went in the direction of the trade, you know, to a certain distance there. Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So there you go, Bob. There's one way of doing it. Let's see. All right, cool. So, Bob is explaining that this hedge grid. So yeah, so it looks like it has an indicator that will plot the exit prices. Yeah, it'll plot an exit price if the market goes in the direction of the trade. So, yeah, you know, Bob, if that indicator is plotting your, I guess what would be your profit targets, you know, I'm assuming your exit price is going to be your profit targets. So as long as that indicator is plotting the profit targets as at the same time that it's telling you to get into a trade, then you can, you can set your profit targets, to that indicator's plot price. So, but you got to make sure that the indicator is plotting that price at the time that your order goes in, right? Because if BlackBird, says, okay, I'm going to submit order A, so it submits a market order. That market order gets filled, and then when BlackBird tries to set your profit target, if you're using an indicator, that indicator has to have some kind of value ready for BlackBird to read. If it doesn't, if it waits, if your indicator waits a certain amount of time before printing a profit target price, then BlackBird will not be able to use that indicator. So, right. But of course, you can always just submit some profit targets that are just way out there, and then you can just manually move them in to where your indicator's at. So, all right. Well, with that, guys, I'll wrap it up. So, just a reminder, if you guys have questions, feel free to email them in ahead of time. So, if you guys have questions for tomorrow's Bloodhound, please feel free to email your questions in ahead of time. It's always handy to get those, and when you email your questions in, they get answered first. So emailed questions do get addressed first, and then I get to the open questions in the question board after that. So, all right, well, guys, if I don't see you in tomorrow's Bloodhound workshop, then have a great weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.